I eat intuitively, I don't buy processed foods, and I feel so freaking good. So let's talk about it, okay? So the first things first is I've always deeply cared about my health. Now, at the beginning of my journey, it was more so, I always cared about my health, but I masked it with obviously things that were actually very unhealthy, right? Like I almost used that as like a way to justify why I was doing certain things, like tracking my food or spending hours in the gym or restricting myself, when really those things were the most unhealthiest things that I've probably done my entire life. But I've always deep down like cared about my health. Like genuinely, I really care about my health. And I'm not talking about health in terms of just what I eat. I've really always cared about my health in general in terms of like living a long life. Not feeling inflamed, having a relaxed nervous system, like health as a whole. It's always been one of my very top priorities. And obviously, over the last few years, I have really turned up the dial on my health because it just becomes even more of a priority. For me personally, I care about how I feel. I have a successful business. I serve clients and I want to be at the top of my game. I want to have high energy. People used to always call me like the Energizer Bunny. I want high levels of energy. I want to feel good in my own skin. I want to feel really strong in my workouts. I go to these yoga classes and some of them, I call them sleepy time yoga. We're just relaxing and stretching. But some of the classes, it's like a power class. And I'm like, I want to feel strong. Like I want to be able to do the balancing postures. I want to be able to do the arm balances. I want to be able to hold in that squat for the time that the teacher says, hold the squat down, right? So for me, if I want to have high energy, I want to live a long life, I want to feel really good in my body, processed foods don't give me energy. They don't make me feel good. They don't help me in my workouts. So I honestly just don't really have a desire to eat them. Like I genuinely have no desire to eat certain foods. I love eating nourishing meals. Like it's not a punishment, I never really understood when people are like, I don't like eating healthy. I'm like, well, I love eating healthy. It's not hard for me. I genuinely enjoy it. But the second reason that I'm really able to live this lifestyle where I can really prioritize my health is because I obviously have a good relationship with food. And when you have a really good relationship with food, you can say no to foods that don't make you feel good without feeling deprived. You can say no to foods that don't make you feel good without, fighting against your urges. That's really important, And again, I want to be so clear, like I'm not trying to not have processed foods. I genuinely have zero desire to eat them. Like I'm not craving them. I literally sometimes look at certain foods. I'm like, this is not even a real food. Like I don't have any desire to eat it. The third thing is Andrew and I both prioritize lots of whole foods, right? So I go to the local farmer's market that we have. It's actually literally on the same street as us, which is absolutely crazy. But I go to the farmer's market. I love like grass-fed meat. Oh my God, Andrew and I get these steaks basically every single week. And it's just grass-fed like strip loin steaks. And oh my God, they're so good. And I'm telling you, when you actually get very high quality foods, like I will go to a restaurant and I'm like, my steak was better. Nothing with the chef. It's just, I can now tell the difference between very high quality food and food that's not good quality. And you can taste it. And like, this is why sometimes I don't want to go out for dinner all the time, because I'm like, number one, sometimes I actually genuinely don't even enjoy it. I'm like, the steak that I would make at home, and I'm not a chef, you guys. Andrew and I, not chefs at all. I cook like the basic of the basic of the basic. Like, I've burnt green beans before. I burnt my pans before. Like, I'm not a chef, okay, whatsoever. But when you have good quality food, you don't got to be no chef, okay? Like, it's just the taste is so rich and flavorful and so satisfying. So that's honestly a personal preference for me. Like, I can taste it. Even this past summer, we have friends that have a garden in their backyard, and we volunteer to support them in helping them actually, take out the vegetables when they're ready and just make sure, everything's all good. I'm clearly not a farmer. I don't know the technological terms, but we basically just went over and pulled weeds and all that jazz and grabbed the vegetables that were ready. I know, so technical. But I could taste the difference, like the fresh green beans, like you can taste the difference, And now this does not mean that every day I'm so excited to eat vegetables. It does not mean every single day I'm eating in a certain way. Like, you might have this vision of what it looks like to be healthy, but that might not be what my vision is. I just know the way that I eat makes me feel really good. And it's about finding a way that works for you, that makes you feel really good. I talk a lot about, satisfaction, right? So every morning I have my pancakes, every day, basically I have my dark chocolate, or I'll make, I'll make certain things myself, and I love it. Like, if you were to tell me, like, you can go to the grocery store. Well, technically I can go to the grocery store. Sometimes I'll go with Andrew. I have no desire to go down the aisle with like just cookies and granola bars and all those things. Like, and again, I'm not restricting myself. I genuinely do not have the desire to eat them. It's not that I feel guilty. I don't crave them. I literally do not crave them. At all. And again, this does not mean like I don't ever eat processed foods. Like, obviously I live my life, right? I go to people's houses. Andrew and I do go out for dinner. But it is a preference for me to not have processed foods because, and again, I don't even say I don't have processed foods, or I eat whole foods. Like, I don't like to label myself, but you will 99.9% of the time come to my house and there won't be like processed foods in my house. That one time I invited my parents over and I was like, here's some nuts. But also my parents are pretty much the same. But Andrew's mom had to like buy us sugar because we didn't even have sugar in the house. And again, I'm not saying that this is the right way. I'm just sharing how I eat, and I've always been this way. This is not like a new thing. Like, I've actually always been this way, but I satisfy my sweet tooth in the way that works for me. So, I literally would rather have a cookie that I make than a cookie from the store. It's personal preference. It's not like, oh my God, what are the calories? And I feel so bad and it has literally nothing to do with that. I have no desire to sometimes eat those foods. Now, if I do want something, of course I'm going to have it. Just this past weekend, I did a video shoot to promote my event, and it was incredible. Oh my God, I'm going all out for this event. Like, it's going to be the event of the freaking year. It's going to be so insane, so incredible, because of course, like, the top badasses are flying from around the world. So obviously I'm going all out. Like, that's just literally who I am. And after that, Andrew and I went out for lunch and we got burgers, and it was amazing, but I wanted to go there. So I never say no. If I want to go do something, I'm going to do it. But it's when I'm actually wanting it. And this is how you know that you're honoring your true cravings. I don't have those foods all the time. But when I'm craving it, heck yeah, let's go. Let's get the burger. Let's go to this dessert place. Heck yes. 100%, let's go. You know? So it's out of true desire. Now, I've always been this way. So even when I was healing my relationship with food, I've always preferred whole foods my whole life. But on my journey, I did have more quote unquote processed foods more often. So I had like dried mangoes, coconut clusters, granola, all the other foods. I had them more frequently and more often to just really take those foods off of a pedestal so that I wouldn't binge on them. And this is very important. I am not saying every single person listening to this, take out all the processed foods from your house. I am not saying that. I'm not saying that at all, actually. In fact, if you do feel guilty about eating certain foods, or there's still foods that you're binging on, you have to allow yourself to actually have them if you crave them. I am saying that there are certain foods that I don't crave, which is why I don't eat them. Right? Like donuts, I'm not really the biggest fan, to be honest with you. So you might not see me eating donuts, but I'm not depriving myself. I'm like, I don't want donuts. But if you were to tell me, Lorna, you can never have dark chocolate, I'm like, LOL, I'm going to eat my freaking dark chocolate. No, thank you. Right? So this is so important. I am not saying take out all processed foods from your diet. I'm not saying that. I'm saying that there are certain foods that maybe don't make you feel well, or there's certain foods that you don't have a desire to eat. And do not believe that you need to eat those foods to say, I have freedom. No, I have complete freedom with food and I don't eat whatever. I have complete freedom with food. There is not a single food that I tell myself I cannot have. However, there are certain foods I just don't desire to have. There is a big, big, big difference. There's a really big difference. So this is how I personally eat intuitively. I love nourishing meals, but you bet your bottom dollar that I'm going to be eating my freaking pancakes every single day. My husband, Andrew's like, he's like, I've never seen a human eat so many pancakes in my entire life. I just started laughing because it's literally true. I eat them every single day. Every single day. And now you might be like, that's not healthy. Well, I don't care, because in the nicest way, because I like them. You know, so do you see what I'm saying? Like, you get to eat intuitively your way. If you told me, Lorna, you shouldn't be eating pancakes every day, I'm going to say, okay, well, that's great. I'm going to have my pancakes every single day because I enjoy them. So just like I'm not telling you, don't have processed foods, I'm not telling you to do that, and you don't have to listen to me. I'm also saying that if somebody were to tell me to not have chocolate every single day, I'm going to still do it because I really enjoy it. So you 100% can prioritize your health and still have a really good relationship with food. Again, it's not about trying to not eat certain foods. It's about literally rewiring your brain and rewiring even your taste buds so that you don't have the desire. You know, back a few years ago, it was like I craved more. I did crave a little bit more processed foods, like the dried mangoes, the coconut clusters, a little bit more of those foods. But now it's like I don't really crave them that often. Again, when I do crave them, I will eat them, move on. That's it. Simple. That's it. But I don't crave them as often. Like I go to the grocery store and I don't have the desire to buy a bunch of things. And this is what happens when you really do go all in and sustainably transform your relationship with food and you rewire your brain. You step into the driver's seat when it comes to your food choices, and that is such an empowering thing. I know that you care about your health. I attract very many clients a lot of clients that come into my programs, and you guys tell me all the time, like, I love eating healthy. My health is very important to me, and you should be so freaking proud of that, okay? Like, you should be so proud of yourself, and do not dare let anyone tell you that eating intuitively means let your health go. That's not true whatsoever. I've done the complete opposite. So of my clients, we've literally all become healthier as a result of no longer binging, thinking about food all day long, just focusing on these nourishing, satisfying, nutritious meals without being impulsive. So you get to eat intuitively your way. I'm sharing the way that works best for me and how I get to feel really good. Again, zero deprivation, zero restriction. I love the way that I eat. Again, my pancakes, plenty of whole foods, dark chocolate. I just had finished lunch, and then I wanted something sweet, and I had a rice cake. If you guys have not tried this, what the heck are you doing? Try this. It is a rice cake, and I put almond butter on top. And then on a pan on the stove top, I'll just put a tiny little bit of coconut oil. I don't put a lot because then it makes it too liquidy. And then when you put it on the rice cake, it just kind of goes all over the place. Anyways, on the stove top, tiny little bit of coconut oil. If you're using dark chocolate chips, if you're using like dark chocolate, like the bar, you probably don't need any coconut oil because again, it becomes very like liquidy and then it just literally goes all over the place. So I use dark chocolate chips and I'll just put a little bit of coconut oil and I'll melt it. I'll melt the dark chocolate and then I'll put the dark chocolate on the rice cake that has the almond butter on it. And then sometimes I'll add banana slices and honey on top. Oh my Lanta. Like, I get so excited about that. Like, forget about a bag of chips. I'm like, give me a freaking rice cake with almond butter and dark chocolate and banana. Like, I love that. And I'm also sharing this with you because I don't want you to feel shame for enjoying these snacks and these meals. Like, I used to sometimes feel like, not bad, but I was like, I don't want some of those other foods, and that's okay. One of my Conquer clients said the exact same thing. She's like, honestly, at social events, like there could be a bag of chips. I don't really have the desire to eat them. She's like, I'd rather go home and have my dates and peanut butter. I'm like, you and me both. Like, that's my jam. Like that's what I actually look forward to. Those are the types of snacks that I personally really, really, really enjoy. So you get to find a way where you get to eat intuitively your way, and you get to turn up the dial on your nutrition and your health without messing up your relationship with food. In fact, I'm actually running a program coming up. My broadcast channel people were the very first people to know about this, well, aside of my clients. But next month inside of Conquer, I'm running a program, and it's literally called Turn Up the Dial on Your Health and Your Nutrition Without Messing Up Your Relationship with Food. And it's going to be so incredible because I'm literally going to teach you how to become truly the healthiest person that you know, turning up the dial on your health, making better nutrition choices without doing it in a way where you're feeling deprived, without tracking your food, without obsessing over how much protein you're eating or how many vegetables you're eating. Like, screw that. There's no obsession in the way that I eat, and I'm walking you through that exact process. So it's going to be incredible. If you want to be part of it, message me and I will send you the details. But yeah, I'm super excited. Anyways, and yeah, there's going to be some special things coming out in the next little bit. So make sure you're following me on my Instagram and make sure you're listening to the podcast every single day that I post an episode, and stay plugged into my Instagram stories and my Instagram because there's just really special things happening in the next few days. So keep your eyes peeled. All right, badasses, have an amazing rest of your day, and we'll see you guys soon.